This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, and especially at the moment, I do hope you're well. So what we're talking about today then? Well, as you've seen from the title, it's 5 epic guitar solos. This is another one of these videos where I talk about like great albums or great live performances and that kind of thing. And I was always going to get round to doing guitar solos, and this is that video. What I've decided to do with these choices is go for not the most obvious solos that, you know, a lot of other people talk about. I mean, do you really need me to tell you that the solo from, Highway Star is an epic performance? Probably not. And these are all what I would class as guitar solos rather than guitar instrumentals. I love Europa by Santana, for example, but it's not on this list because that is, a guitar instrumental that's composed in advance and is, kind of not exactly set in stone, but it is, pretty much played the same way or to the same melody every time he plays it. These are all solos that are, maybe worked out a little bit in advance, but are to a large degree improvised most of the time when they were played, different. They would be different every night on the tour, so to speak. So that's what we're talking about today. Let's have a look at the first one.
Empty Rooms by Gary Moore.
Yes, indeed. Now, this is the solo from the version of the song that appeared on Gary's album Victims of the Future. He did release 2 or 3 different versions of this song throughout the 80s, but for me, this is the best version, and just the solo from this is just epic. It really is. I mean, it was the first one I thought of when I was thinking about doing this video. What I like about it, well, okay, the guitar tone. I mean, it was recorded in the 80s, and unlike a lot of guitar sounds that were recorded in the 80s, it hasn't kind of dated badly, It hasn't become like this time capsule of, dearie me, is that what a guitar sounded like in the 80s? Like a lot of guitar tones that were recorded back then. This is an absolutely timeless sound that he's got on here. I believe he was using the Les Paul, the Peter Green guitar. Just superb articulation and emotional playing on this solo. It is just, it sums up that melodic, emotional side of Gary's playing perfectly to me. There is an absolutely heart-melting moment about 4 minutes 30 into the song where he just does this string bend over a chord change that just makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up and take notice. I got to tell you, the first time I heard this solo, my first thought was, I wish I could play like that. And that's still what I think these days. Next.
Drink That Bottle Down by Brian Setzer.
Okay, yeah, this is the B-side of a Stray Cats single, Stray Cats Strut, funnily enough. This came out in 1981, and when you listen to it, and I do urge you to listen to it, bear in mind that you are listening to a 22-year-old guitar player. That's how old Brian Setzer was on this. As I say, it's a live recording, I think recorded at Newcastle City Hall. And the amazing thing about it is that, the Stray Cats, they were a 3-piece. And, there's a very, very minimalist drum kit. I mean, what did Slim Jim Phantom use? I think he had a snare drum, a hi-hat, a cymbal, and maybe a tiny little bass drum, and that's it. He used to stand up playing. He wasn't Neil Peart, a tiny minimalist drum kit and just a stand-up bass that, doesn't really usually cut through and kind of fill the sound out as much as maybe a precision bass or a bass guitar, put it that way. And despite this kind of minimalist backdrop, it never sounds empty and it never sounds thin and it never sounds like, it's lacking any kind of accompaniment behind the solo. And that is largely, I think, due to Brian's masterful playing on this, the way he's able to play to the chord changes and fill out the sound and just create a masterpiece of a solo. And again, the first time I heard it, I thought, I'd love to be able to play like that. And I still do. Next.
The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking by Eric Clapton.
Okay, yes. Now this is an Eric Clapton solo from a Roger Waters tune. Eric guested on Roger Waters' first solo album after Pink Floyd kind of split acrimoniously after the final cut. And it's a rare top form performance from what even Eric admits was a pretty fallow period of his career. You know, he's still using his famous mongrel Strat Blackie at this particular point in time, and I don't think he's ever had a better sound. I'll be honest. You know, he's playing better than ever these days, I think, when you listen to his recent output. But you know, in terms of his guitar sound, I think Blackie has always just had the edge over any of the Clapton signature Strats that he's had ever since. And it's just a beautiful solo. It's fiery, it's energetic, beautiful phrasing, superb tone. And, you know, the first time I heard it, I thought, I'd love to be able to play like that. And I still do. Next.
Going Down Slow by Paul Kossoff.
Right, now if I was wanting to describe or summarise Paul Kossoff as a guitarist, I couldn't do any better than just pointing you towards this track. This comes from, as I'm sure you know, the 1968 album Tons of Sobs. And Kossoff's playing on this track, well, the whole album, but this track in particular is just sublime. He's got that nervous, edgy vibrato, a fantastic tone, obviously, you know, goes without saying, which I'm guessing is obviously a Les Paul through a Marshall. You know, his playing on here is just fluent, articulate, fiery, mesmerising, inventive. It is incredible. You always get the feeling as you're listening to him that he's never going to run out of ideas. He's always got more to give. There's always more gas in the tank, as it were. And it's just a masterclass in just fiery, edgy, electrifying blues guitar playing. And the first time I heard this solo, I thought, I'd love to be able to play like that. And I still do. Next.
Adventures in a Yorkshire Landscape by Bill Nelson.
You know, I almost didn't include this one because it's part of an album that I talked about recently. I think it was in the, you know, the albums that fly below the radar video that I did, I think, last week. But I can't not include it. If I'm talking about epic guitar solos, Adventures in a Yorkshire Landscape by Bebop Deluxe, you know, Bill Nelson, you've just got to include it if you're talking about fantastic guitar solos. It's just melodic, virtuoso, incredible guitar playing at its best, I think. And, you know, this is live on stage in front of an audience, and he's just delivering the goods, no questions asked. It is just a brilliant, brilliant solo. You know, again, it's another one of these like that Paul Kossoff solo where, as you're listening to it, you kind of think, well, where's he getting his ideas from? You know, it's just he never seems to run out of steam. It is utterly fantastic playing, a beautiful guitar tone as well, it has to be said. And again, just marvellous, masterful guitar playing at its best. You know, a true rock genius, I think, who, you know, does deserve a lot more recognition than he gets. And the first time I heard this solo, I thought, I wish I could play like that. And I still do. So there you go, folks. Those are my 5 epic guitar solos that, you know, I thought I'd share with you today. I hope you found this video, you know, entertaining in some way, and I hope you maybe go and check out some of the music that perhaps you hadn't heard of in the past, and, you know, discover something new. What else do I need to talk about? Yes, the Fret Zealot giveaway. I've been blethering on about that in all my videos recently, so I'll spare you the spiel today. Basically, we're giving away a Fret Zealot to celebrate 2 of my courses being available on the Fret Zealot app. All of the details in how to enter the draw in the description box below. But get your entries in quick, because the competition closes on the 7th of May, so you've only got a few more days left to go. And apart from telling you about the Friday live stream, 5 p.m. UK time, we have a beer, we have a chat, we have a laugh. I hope you can be there. It's great fun. It usually is. Then that's all I've got for you today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and give me a like while you're at it. And I'll just say thank you for watching. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you all again next time. Stay well, folks. Bye for now.